How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which had another close above $25. As far as for the price action, yes, it did have a red day, but there's some other things that I want you to be aware of, so we'll talk about it in the video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $25.39, being down 1.09%. On the low, it tested $24.82, and then on the high, testing $26.20. Taking a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 17.443 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 22.742 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and it's part of the reasons why we've seen a slight pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 48.70. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day. We're also below the 200-day, the 50-day, but we are above the 21-day EMA. And what you can see here, we have a death cross with the 50-day crossing over the 200-day moving average. So what this means, can Lucid hold up this level? $25 has been a key area, and I've been telling you guys this to keep a very close eye on this, because what this confirms possibly, could this be around the bottom? Could we be able to hold up $24 and being able to move up with the market and seeing what it could do from there? So we're going to have to be patient, see what happens. But one thing that is very clear though, we are continuing to form some higher lows. And we've been noticing this now for the past 4 trading days, including for today. So going into tomorrow, where you want to see us actually break out at is above the level of 26.20, which was the high of the day, to see if we can make that move to 27.50 and see how we fare at the $28 level. This will be an area of resistance for Lucid, so one thing you're going to want to keep a very close eye on. But do know, if the markets continue to pick back up, there's a high likelihood it'll be able to do this. If we have some consolidation or we pull back, of course, as far as weakness is concerned, then you want to see some price action being below $23. So let's see how it performs going into tomorrow. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So as we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So as far as new or closed positions, we don't have anything for today's date, but you can see we have nationwide mutual funds that ended up actually increasing their position by 487.50%. So that looks like they are bullish from that filing. And then when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 51.17%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 4.45 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 75,000, updated 26 minutes ago, and then for the short ball free rate, it is at 8.21%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 17th, it's at 52.83, and then for the close of the 18th, being at 51.17. So one thing that is clear, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflows at 114 and then on the outflows at 57.47. Keep in mind these numbers are in the millions, so we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large it was 46.48, on the medium it was 46.72, and then on the small it was 21.13. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large it was 0, on the medium it was 37.65, and then on the the small, it was 19.82. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, March the 21st, we have that big inflow of 46.48 million. And we could also see for the 18th, we had a big inflow of 214.55 million. So institutions have been loading up. When we analyze the numbers even further for the small scale order that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, it represents whales, institutions, and funds, you can see very clear a lot more inflow, so a lot more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.06%. So this continues to be a consistent range for Lucid. And the factor that remains clear, there's a lot of demand in the market for Lucid shares, but we'll talk about it further inside of the final thoughts, so let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when it comes to the price action, taking a look at the technicals, there's some things that we need to be aware of. We have the 50-day moving average that crossed over the 200-day. So this is a bearish sign, and what we call is the death cross. So when this happens, that's when shorts tend to take positions on the stock. But one thing that we have to understand though, if we continue to see strength inside of these markets, the key level we want to see Lucid get above is 27.50. If it continues to have resistance, especially right at that $26 level, then of course there could be some more pressure on the stock, as many people are going to be playing it to the downside. And the levels that you need to look out for, and we talk about this for quite some time on the channel, is when it's trading below $23, to be exact, under $22.50, because that's where we can start seeing levels in the $20 range. So add this to your homework and as well as your due diligence, but it's going to be very key for Lucid to get to $27.50 or even get to $28 for this week to show that strength. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we can see institutions are continuing to accumulate on shares. So this is definitely a good look right here, and I know this gives a lot of confidence for anyone who's a long-term investor. And when we took a look at the short interest information, it still continues to have short squeeze potential. No surprises there, but we do know this is a growth stock at the end of the day, and in the current environments that we are in with these markets, there's going to be a lot of volatility. We had Jerome Powell that came out with some hawkish news saying that, you know what, we're going to have to raise those interest rate hikes to around 50 basis points, and this could be continuous throughout the year. So any growth stock that is not profitable or showing a strong path to profitability is not going to be doing the greatest in these current environments, especially when we have EV leaders like Tesla that are showing profitability. So Lucid is really going to have to step it up, and when they do that next earnings report, there's going to have to be some big improvements. They're not going to be able to get away again with lackluster results. The stock will pull back because of this, and with this environment, that's why I say it is better to be patient, do your homework, and do your due diligence before jumping into any play. And that is why I emphasize doing thorough research. The last thing that you want to do is just get into a position due to emotions or what you heard on social media. And this becomes even more important when you're investing in growth stocks that are capital intensive. So let's see how Lucid performs for this coming week, and I will continue to keep you guys updated. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.